Hi there everybody, welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Nissan Micra. This is a 2013 and I'm going to be changing the oil and the oil filter. I'm also going to be changing the air filter in it. Now this is a 1.2 model. The engine is the HR12DE. I wrote it there last year so I can easily remember, and also the amount of oil that it takes. It actually takes 3.4 liters if you change the filter as well. If you didn't change the filter, it takes a little bit less oil, but I usually do the full service with the oil filter change, so I write the figure there. Now I've got all the bits, genuine bits from Nissan, because they had a really good deal going on, and so I got the air filter and the oil directly from them. And this came with a kit with a copper washer as well, so good to go. So I'm going to start by actually I'm also going to top up some screen wash fluid, and we'll check the coolant level in the car just to make sure it's okay, and the percentage of antifreeze. And I will start as always with topping up some screen wash fluid, but perhaps one more thing to mention before I start is I'm going to be using 5W30 oil in the car, so 3.4 liters of 5W30, and that's it. That's all we need for the service. It's a fairly simple one, and like I said, we're going to start with the screen wash fluid, which goes in here. So as always, it's recommended to use the proper screen wash fluid so you are protected in winter, because if you use just water in there during winter, the water freezes and it doesn't come out your jets. So this liquid will not freeze. You can buy it concentrated and mix it yourself, or you can buy it ready mixed and just pour it in there. And obviously you could keep the rest of it in the boot of your car, so you can keep it topped up. It's really essential during some months of the year. Okay, that's it. Now we can move on to the coolant. The coolant will be in this tank, so we can open this little cover here. Some pressure may be released, maybe not, and you will have to see the level from the side here. It's a little bit difficult to see, but I'm going to shine the light and you'll be able to see the max mark there. Right, got my light shining down there. Now you can see the max mark, and right at the bottom is the minimum mark. So you can see my fluid as well. The fluid is just below the max there, nothing to be concerned about. If there was no fluid in there, obviously this tank will look like this, just white clear. So if there was no fluid there at all, then you want to be a little bit concerned. It might be leaking. You may have a slow leak or a leak somewhere, which you will have to investigate. Now I have this little gadget here. We're going to suck some of that fluid in order to check the percentage of antifreeze. So similar to the screen wash fluid, we don't want this coolant fluid to freeze. If it freezes, it can damage your engine. So this is saying around -24 there. Just put it straight. So it's just showing me around -25. So it would mean the temperature would have to be -25 in order for this liquid to freeze. So we haven't had those extremes here in the UK, so this is perfectly fine. Obviously, if you were living in the North Pole, you would have to have your coolant at much lower temperature. But if you're in a hotter country, it might be slightly less that you need to have it, but you still want to have, you always want to have some of the coolant itself, because it's got minerals and other stuff that protects the engine from corrosion. So wherever you are in the world, you really want to have coolant in your system. The percentage of the amount of it, it's what defines whether it's gonna freeze or not. So anyway, this is good. Happy days. Level is good. Percentage is good. So we're good to move on to our oil and oil filter and air filter. So I'll probably do the air filter first, probably the easiest, but we'll just close this now. Okay, so our air filter is gonna be hiding behind this cover here. Just flick that open. You might even be fairly clean. It's really not that dirty at all, but I've been asked to change it, so get the new one and get it in there. So the one I removed is a blueprint one, by the way. Okay, just gonna get that in there. Okay, got it in there. Now at the bottom of this cover there are two plastic bits that sort of go into two holes, and get it in the correct hook, and then you should be able to fit this back with no dramas. Okay. With a new filter, it's always going to be a little bit more pressure to push it in, because it's quite new, and this rubber here sort of gets a little bit flattened with time. And that's a fairly simple filter to change, especially with two hands. So now we can move on to the next stage, and I'm going to start with pulling the dipstick here and opening the oil filter cap here, which if it's really tight, don't break your hand, just use a pair of pliers, get it open. Now we can leave that there. I'm gonna get the car up and we're gonna drain the oil from underneath and tackle the filter from underneath. So looking at the car from underneath, we have our sump just here, and it's got a 14 mil sump plug bolt there, which we can open, and also the filter is sitting right there. So make sure you get yourself an oil pan to catch the oil, and also if your car has been running and it's been running quite a bit and you decide to do the service, the oil may be very hot. So just make sure you don't burn yourself when you open this. You could always wait a little bit for it to cool down. So that's a 14 mil bolt, and now we can let that drain and then tackle that filter. I'm gonna use one of these for the filter. This is like a filter socket. This has got two sizes in it, by the way, 65, 67, 14 it says. So the smaller size of this is the one that actually fits. So that goes in there. And that filter is not really going to be that tight, because when we put it in, we just put it in by hand. And right, I might need my 2 hands to just loosen it. Right, once you loosen it, it'll be easy to get out. Some oil will drip from there as well. So again, if your engine is hot, the oil will be very hot. That's it. While the oil is draining, we can prepare our filter. Filter is here. I just put some multi-purpose grease on this O-ring, this grease here. But you can use any, well, you can use a bit of oil really, or a bit of grease, just to lubricate the O-ring there. Now a lot of people put some oil in here and then put the filter in there. I never really done that ever, and I never really had any issues whatsoever. But go ahead and fill your filter with a bit of oil if you want to. Just make sure it comes from the amount that you measured, 3.4 liters, because if you put, say, 300 mils here, then you only have to top up 3.1 liters when you do it. So just remember, just measure how much you're putting in here. And like I said, I never really had any issues. And a lot of the cars that I do, most of them have the filter sitting upside down or sideways, so you can't really fill them with oil. It's only some of them that you can. So before I put that filter, just want to clean this area here. Make sure it's nice and clean. The surface where the filter, the new filter, is going to be sitting. And we'll get that back in there. And that goes in there just hand tight. And that's it. And also we can change our copper washer. So I've got the new one here. This one is one of those, it's slightly different. It sort of screws into there. Kind of. It doesn't just slide in like the other one. Right, there we are. That's ready to go back in. Now we can put our sun plug bolt back in with a new copper washer. Get in there by hand, make sure it's going in the correct sense, the correct way, without damaging any threads. Then we can use our ratchet, and I'm using this torque wrench, which actually I got it set to 35 Newton meters. So all cars vary really on that torque. But that's it. That's 35 Newton meters. So I could easily carry on tightening that, by the way, but obviously we could damage it, so just use a torque wrench and then you should be okay. And now we just want to rinse that there. So So I'm just using a bit of brake cleaner, which is really good for rinsing oil, amongst other things. So if you leave it nice and clean, then next year when you come back to it, if there's any oil around here, then you will know if it's just coming from there or if there's any oil coming from somewhere else. But if you leave it all dirty, it could get confusing. So also we clean this area here, which I've already done. Just rinse it as well, and then it's nice and clean. And now we can lower the car and top up some oil. Okay, now we can top up some oil. I've got my oil ready. Gotta put a funnel there to avoid any spills, and I've got measured here 3.4 liters. I'm using this 5W30 oil, and we can pour that in there. Obviously, just remember, if you added some to your filter, I'm pretty sure you measured it, so you know how much to put up here. Right, we also have our dipstick here. You can obviously confirm your oil quantities with your dipstick. You have those two dots there, the minimum and the maximum. I'm just gonna wipe that off. Right, so this end here will be the minimum and this will be the max. We are aiming to be at the max, obviously, because we just changed the oil. It says here, there's an L there and there's a H there, by the way, so it says low and high. You just might not be able to see it in my camera, but you might be able to see it when you take it out. So if I check the oil right now, it might be above the max here. It might be a little bit somewhere up here, and that will be because after I run the engine, some of the oil will go into the oil filter and it will stay there, and then this will drop a little bit. So if you added the oil to the filter already, you should be more or less at the max, give and take. Obviously depends how much you put. So let's have a quick check where we are at. And it is very difficult to see, but my oil, it's where I'm basically expecting it to be, where the H is basically. So I'm happy with that. Just gonna fit that back in there. This is pretty much done. That bit of oil there. Now we can start the car and just monitor that there are any oil warning lamps coming up in here. So just to recap, we've tightened the bolt, we fitted our filter, and we got oil. So we start the car, no oil warning lamps coming. Engine sounds nice and clear, and we are happy to go. And so that's pretty much it. Having said that, hope the video helps. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. We'll see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching.